Happy holidays, folks, and welcome to a very special review of last night's Christmas edition of Friday Night SmackDown for December 25th, 2020. I am Graham G.S. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying the holiday season. And we were gifted a pretty great gift last night by WWE in the form of a great episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And SmackDown's been a better show anyway the last couple of months, really since Roman Reigns returned. It's essentially been the Roman Reigns show for the past 4 months. But last night's SmackDown was one of the best episodes of TV they have done all year. 2 hours of just wrestling, focused content, notable matches, title matches. We had 3 title matches on last night's SmackDown, and a very good Daniel Bryan Jey Uso match. All 4 matches delivered. We had storyline progression, a Royal Rumble announcement, and just one great episode of SmackDown. That's all I wanted for Christmas, was a quality SmackDown. Not necessarily, but for the sake of this review, let's say that. But this was a very fun way to cap off the evening. A very good episode of SmackDown last night. And they've done episodes of Raw and SmackDown and other shows on Christmas Day itself. They did Raw on Christmas Live for some strange reason 3 years ago. Hardly remember anything about that show aside from John Cena versus Elias. What a waste of time that was. We had Christmas SmackDown actually 2 years ago. And I remember Rusev won the United States Championship on that episode, which was cool. On his birthday, no less, too. And on Rusev Day, of course. So that was fun. But I feel like this episode of SmackDown was one of, if not the best, holiday show that I have ever seen from this company. And the best part about it was that there was nothing holiday-themed about the show for the most part. And listen, I love my Miracle on 34th Street fights. I love the fake Santas coming in. Mick Foley coming in as Santa Claus, all that other shit, that the holly jolly shit. I love it. I really do. But I think with shows like this, it's more important. We see that stuff every year. We get that stuff every single year. I think it's more important to deliver a focused show. In light of the holiday, too, I'm not sure what the rating's going to be. They had 3 title matches last night. But all 4 matches delivered. We had a Royal Rumble announcement. And overall, just a really, really good episode of SmackDown, as I said. So I was very happy about that. And that's really all I could ask for. Again, like I said earlier, was a quality SmackDown. Not necessarily, but again, as I said, for the sake of the review, let's just go with it. So we opened the show with a Universal Championship Steel Cage match and a rematch from TLC between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. These two actually had a Steel Cage match on Raw about 4 years ago that I think Kevin Owens won. I know they had a match on Raw that Kevin Owens won. And this was before they actually feuded over the Universal Championship itself later on in the year. It was on like their season premiere episode of Raw, blah, blah, blah. Maybe Kevin Owens won. Maybe he pinned Roman or something. I don't remember. But they've definitely had a steel cage match before, at least one. They had that no-holds-barred match at the Royal Rumble in 2017, which was fantastic. They had the TLC match on Sunday, which was really good. And this was another great match, with Owens having to fight from underneath. Still, we got interference despite the stipulation, which I fucking hate, from Jey Uso. The part that I didn't understand about this match was that a lot like TLC, a lot like at TLC, Kevin Owens apparently has no friends. Now, I know he's betrayed a lot of people. He's turned on Chris Jericho. He's turned on the New Day. He's turned on Sami Zayn. He's turned on a lot of people. You're telling me not even Daniel Bryan, who has issues with Jey Uso anyway, and went on to face him later on in the night, couldn't come out and attack Jey Uso to kind of counteract him, get him out of there. And Kevin Owens wouldn't even have to win. But Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan could have brawled to the back, allowing Owens to finish their feud. And after seeing this finish, I assume that the feud isn't over. I mean, Roman Reigns has now beaten Kevin Owens twice in 2 marquee title matches, but not clean. And we know Roman can win clean. He beat Jey Uso, twice on pay-per-view? He won the Universal Championship relatively clean. He's won a lot of matches clean in the last couple of months, so this cowardly heel Roman thing is weird. Roman's still killing it as a heel, but the fact that he would need interference and help from Jey Uso is baffling to me. He should be able to beat Kevin Owens on his own. And even if they do another match at the Rumble, we know Kevin Owens won't win. If they didn't do this match here, I would probably say, yeah, let's do another one of the Rumble. But if they do another one of the Rumble and Kevin Owens loses again, which he should, the guy's just the ultimate loser. And he has no friends. He's just a terrible babyface. And yeah, he won't stay down. He'll keep getting back up. He'll keep fighting. And that's great and all. But if you don't have the win-loss record to back it up, then you're just a fucking loser. So I loved the match. I thought this was a really great way to kick off the show. I thought it would be the main event, but we had the Intercontinental Championship defended in the main event instead. And they really loaded up this show. Between the women's tag titles being defended, Charlotte Flair coming back to SmackDown for 1 week, Asuka being here, the Lumberjack stipulation, the Steel Cage stipulation. They really loaded up this show. And it felt like a special SmackDown. This felt to me like the wild card episode of SmackDown that we got about 4 years ago. It was the final SmackDown of 2016. I think it was like December 27th. It was a couple days after Christmas, and it was so good. It was a really, really good episode. That's what this show reminded me of. This is what I want. You can't do it every week. I understand that. You got to give more people airtime, like the middle of the card and the undercard and people like that. But as a once-a-month thing, every other couple months in between pay-per-view months where we don't have a pay-per-view for a long stretch, like right now, I think doing stuff like this is really smart. So anyway, back to Owens and Reigns here. Reigns wins, LOL, as he should have. But Jey Uso interfered, so do you keep the feud going? And I thought Daniel Bryan would interfere, go on to beat Jey Uso later on in the night, and then we would get Roman and Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. But we now know, spoiler alert, Daniel Bryan will be in the men's Royal Rumble match, which honestly might make more sense anyway. If they're doing Roman and Daniel at WrestleMania, that's fantastic. Part of me thought we might get Big E in that spot, but Big E appears to be doing something else for the foreseeable future, so it doesn't look like that's going to happen, which is totally fine. They can wait on Big E. But we might be getting Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, Roman Reigns could end up facing Goldberg at the Rumble, and hey, that's ideal for me. I don't want Roman Reigns and Goldberg at WrestleMania. I want to see the match. I don't want to see it at WrestleMania. That would be a hard no for me. Daniel Bryan and Roman, with Daniel Bryan winning the Rumble, the same match that he has never won before, would, I think, be phenomenal. I think that'd be a great story for him to win the Rumble, the same match that he should have won the year that Roman Reigns won. Coming on 6 years now, in 2015, 6 years ago. I think that would be a great story. And I guess they could always do it at the February pay-per-view. You can't waste a match like that at a pay-per-view like that. I mean, I guess they did in 2015. They did Roman and Daniel Bryan at the Fastlane pay-per-view. Had Roman Reigns win to quiet everyone and say, hey, listen, we gave Daniel Bryan a shot. He fucking lost. Move on. So I guess they could do that again if they wanted to. I just don't want to see that. I don't want to see it there anyway. I would rather see it saved for WrestleMania. But I thought this was great stuff. A very good way to kick off the show. I'm just skeptical what's next for Kevin Owens on SmackDown. We then had the WWE Women's Tag Team titles defended on the show in a triple threat tag team match. Now listen, the match itself was fantastic. I thought this was a really, really good match. And which should come as no surprise, given who was involved. It was Charlotte and Asuka defending their newly won titles against two, not one, but two makeshift tag teams in Bayley and Carmella and Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Listen, I think Sasha and Bianca made for a great team. I think even Bayley and Carmella made for a really good team. But, and I know why they did this. I know they did this to further the feud between Bianca and Bayley and then Sasha and Carmella. I get it. The problem with this was that when you announce a women's tag team title match for SmackDown, that's what they did on Raw. They announced, Charlotte and Asuka going to SmackDown this week to defend the titles. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be Flair and Asuka versus the Riot Squad, clearly. Because one, they're the only team that SmackDown has. And two, they've won the last 2 weeks. Albeit not in important matches, but they've won the last 2 weeks. They beat Billie Kay and Natalya 2 weeks ago. And last week they beat Billie Kay and Tamina. Those wins were apparently for nothing because they weren't in this match. Now, they did show them watching from the back. And maybe they're building to Asuka and Flair versus the Riot Squad, which I appreciate. But you somehow have to fucking justify these two random teams getting a tag team title shot. Sasha and Bianca have teamed only once a tribute to the troops. Bayley and Carmella, which I completely forgot are best friends. I completely forgot about that. Baymella from NXT. I don't think I've ever even teamed on the main roster. So this was incredibly random, but it's hard to complain when the match was as good as it was. So I appreciated that. One thing I completely forgot about, which I'm not even sure if it was advertised as one going into the show, that this was an elimination match. So when Sasha pinned, I think it was Carmella, and I'm thinking, holy shit, did they just win the titles? And then obviously they didn't, but that's what I'm thinking. There was zero chance of the titles changing hands at this point, And the women's tag team division, there's a lot of talent there, but it's such a messy division because almost literally every fucking team that they have in this division are makeshift tag teams except for the Riot Squad. Shayna and Nia, even the former champions, are a makeshift tag team. Charlotte and Asuka are not long for those titles. Carmella and Bayley are not a real team. And then Sasha and Bianca are not a real team. So they got to figure this division out because it's a fucking mess. The belts mean absolutely nothing. But as a match, I thought this was great. And as you could probably tell, the team of Charlotte and Asuka pulled out the victory to retain the tag team titles. So I thought this was a great match. Just, again, questionable booking. And I still assume that the end game here is Asuka and Charlotte facing off for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. But if you check out WrestleRant Radio from this past week, cheap plug, I give a pretty... I think I actually talked about it in a clip here on the channel, so you can check that out if you don't want to check out the full episode of the show. But it went on a pretty detailed rant as to why we should not get Asuka and Charlotte at WrestleMania and other matches they can do instead. We then got Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso on the show. Very straightforward singles match. Hard-hitting, aggressive, got a lot of time. This was great stuff. Simple, strong match here between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. Jey Uso has been fucking killing it. Easily the greatest year of his career. And the Usos have done great stuff as heels and as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the WWE Tag Team Champions. But on his own, he has never, ever meant anything. Until recently. And since aligning with Roman Reigns, the guy has experienced this career resurgence, especially as a single star. Now, Jimmy Uso should be on his way back soon, and that's great. This was the final SmackDown of 2020. Next year is on New Year's Day. And I'll get to that in a moment, what they're advertising for that show. But I assume Jimmy Uso's on his way back. What I would do, and Jey Uso's been doing very well for himself on his own, but I don't need to see Jey Uso as the Intercontinental Champion. You could do Big E and Jey Uso as a one-off match on SmackDown if you want. That is not a WrestleMania match. I think a stronger match with Jey Uso would be Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso as heels with Roman against the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. That's the match that I would do. Or Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. That's also another option. But as far as this match is concerned, again, very simple match, very good match. Jey Uso delivered. Daniel Bryan was great as always. Daniel Bryan tapping out Jey Uso, I believe. I think it was, he hit the running knee to knock him out for the 3 count and to pick up the victory. That's what it says here on WWE.com. I thought he tapped him out, but apparently not. So Daniel Bryan emerges victorious. And then we found out immediately afterward in a backstage segment, in a backstage interview, I think with Kayla Braxton, Daniel Bryan told her that of everything that he's accomplished in his career, the one thing that has always eluded him has been winning I thought he was going to say the Universal Championship. And I thought he was going to say, I'm going after Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. That is another thing that's eluded him. That's another one accomplishment in this entire company that he's never done. He's been the WWE Champion. He's headlined WrestleMania, won the main event of WrestleMania, Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, SmackDown Tag Team Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, Raw Tag Team Champion, whatever. The guy's done it all, except, aside from winning the Universal Championship, win a Royal Rumble match. He was even Mr. Money in the Bank back in 2011. The guy has done basically everything except for win a Royal Rumble, which has eluded him every year that he's been in a Royal Rumble match. Specifically, the last 2 times he was in a Rumble match, in 2014 and 2015. That sounds like a long time ago, and it is, but that was the last time that Daniel Bryan was in the Royal Rumble. And I'm not talking about the greatest Royal Rumble. Fuck that shit. That doesn't even count. Yeah, he was in that match, actually, because he got tossed out by Big Cass. In Saudi Arabia, who cares? I'm talking about the Royal Rumble match in January, every single year. He has not been in one since January of 2015. And that was the year that he should have won. And then he got chucked out, and the crowd got pissed, and rightfully so. And then it was all downhill for Roman Reigns from there. I think it would be beautiful storytelling if Daniel Bryan won, finally. And then, there's no fans this year, so they can't shit on it. Maybe there will be fans, but as far as I know, there won't be, as of right now anyway. So they can't shit on it if they give us a shitty winner this year. So maybe that's their excuse. But I would love it if Daniel Bryan finally won that match and went on to face the man at WrestleMania that he kind of caused, not directly, but kind of caused to get booed when he didn't win the Rumble 5-6 years ago in 2015. I think that would be beautiful storytelling. And that's what I want to see happen. Daniel Bryan is my new pick to win the Royal Rumble. I know he was the only man announced so far. And I was originally saying Keith Lee or Big E. I think Daniel Bryan at this point is the best possible option to win the Royal Rumble. He's not a fresh face, but he's never won the Rumble before. He hasn't been in the world title mix for a while. I think that would be fantastic. And it is one thing that's always eluded him, that he should have won it in 2014. He should have won it in 2015. He hasn't been in it since. Not counting, again, the greatest Royal Rumble stuff, which I don't count anyway, but he was hurt in 2016. He retired right after that, actually, so he wasn't in the 2016 Rumble. He was retired in 2017. He was retired in 2018. He came back in March, but he wasn't in the Rumble that year. 2019, he defended the WWE Championship against AJ Styles, and in 2020, he faced The Fiend for the Universal Championship. So he has not been in the Rumble by January of this coming year in 6 years. So it makes sense for him to be in the match, not face Roman Reigns, and hopefully win it, so we'll see. Then we get to the main event, Big E battling Sami Zayn in a Lumberjack match for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I was going to say that I only remember babyfaces being around the ring for this, but I'm looking at a picture now where Bobby Roode was also at ringside and Dolph Ziggler. So it wasn't just babyfaces. That would have kind of given away the finish. But the fact that this went on last kind of told you that we were getting a title change, but I think it was the perfect time for it. I think Big E, had he been in chase mode a little longer and maybe won it at the Rumble, would have been cooler. But then again, though, he got the big celebration here. First of all, it was a very good match. I'm not typically a fan of Lumberjack matches, but it made sense, because Sami Zayn is always getting himself counted out. He's always leaving the ring. In the feud, they've been kind of feuding on and off now for about a month and a half, so it makes sense. You could have waited till the Rumble, yes, but he had the center stage here. He was in the main event of SmackDown. They had the confetti. They had the baby faces lifting him up on their shoulders. It was kind of like the Lex Luger win from SummerSlam 93, although unlike Luger, he actually won the championship. It's not like he won via countout and then didn't win the title. He actually became the Intercontinental Champion here. So it made for a great moment. It closed out a great show. So I'm happy with the title change. I think Sami Zayn has done a great job as champion since September, as being a pest heel champion. I do think they could have gotten another feud out of him. You know, he was kind of feuding with Daniel Bryan. I think they interacted again here. I don't know where the fuck that shit's going if they're not going to have Bryan beat Sami for the title. I don't know where the hell that's going. Maybe they'll be in the Rumble and then Bryan has to toss out Sami to win. I don't know. But I think they interacted again here on the show. Regardless, Big E is now the new champion. And I would have liked to have seen Sami and Otis first, or Sami and Rey Mysterio. There were a few options there. But Sami and Big E was the ultimate feud where Big E should have won the championship. He did, becoming a 2-time Intercontinental Champion in the process, and winning his first Intercontinental Championship since May 4th, 2014. That's a long time. That's 6.5 years ago, almost 7. It's a long time. So congrats to Big E. It was a great way to close out the show. The guy's on the right track right now. There was a small stretch there about a month or two ago where they weren't doing anything with him. He went to SmackDown without the New Day. He beat Sheamus in that Great Falls Count Anywhere match. And then he just wasn't on the show. He wasn't a part of Survivor Series. I mean, he was at the event as part of the New Day entrance, but he wasn't involved in any matches. He wrestled at TLC in a kickoff match, but they weren't really doing much with him for a little while, so I'm glad he's back on track and has the championship. And he had a good reign the first time, but now that he's more relevant, he has more personality, he's more over, I think this reign will be even better. So, yeah, I thought this was a great episode of SmackDown. Probably my favorite show of the year. And I'd really have to go back, and SmackDown has had some strong shows in 2020, but this might have been their best. Between the 3 title matches, all 4 matches being great, we had the Royal Rumble announcement, and the Intercontinental Championship changing hands. This was, I mean, if you didn't tune in thinking, oh, it's going to be a dumb holiday show, they're going to do the Santa Claus shit, blah, 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 then you really missed out on what was a fantastic episode of SmackDown. And hopefully they can kind of carry this momentum into 2021. And I have faith that they can. I mean, I wasn't saying that last year, just because SmackDown, when they first arrived on Fox, for whatever reason, fans, no fans, whatever, it was a deplorable show. From like October of last year, I don't know really what it was like before that. It was decent, but not like great or too bad, or like too terrible. But when they arrived on Fox, aside from that debut show, the show was so almost unwatchable. From October of last year through, I would say, whenever that karaoke segment on SmackDown was. What was that, July or August? Really up until SummerSlam, the show sucked. Roman Reigns comes back, it's an instantly a better show. So, hopefully they can carry this momentum into the new year. And again, like I said, I have faith that they will. So 2 thumbs up here from me for SmackDown. A great holiday gift from WWE. Could not have asked for a better show from SmackDown on Friday night. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the holiday. I had a great Christmas, so hopefully you guys did as well, or whatever holiday you're celebrating this year. And that's about it. So we will be back next week, probably for the New Year's Day edition of SmackDown Review. That should be up the next day. I wasn't really sure if I would have time to record this, but thankfully I did, because I got some other stuff going on today too. But be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. We do have another new interview coming up probably in the next week. I'm conducting it, I think, on Monday, so you're going to want to stay subscribed for this one, because it is a big one. Let me tell you, it's a big one. So no spoilers, not quite yet. I might do an announcement video. It's coming up very soon, so just a heads up on that. But yeah, I'm excited to be sharing that with you guys in the coming days. Have a great rest of 2020. Let's knock the rest of this year right into the past. Let's kill it for the rest of the year for the next week. And then on to bigger and hopefully better things in 2021. Have an awesome one, guys. Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.